G'day guys, my name is Wildcard. Welcome back. Thank you for being a huge fan of rugby, the greatest sport in the history of the world. And it is Tuesday, it's time to read the news. So first up, the blokes at Rugby League is reportedly a little bit worried that Rugby Australia is looking to secure some of the Rugby League players with a $10 million budget to buy some Rugby League players to try to get them over to play Rugby Union. As reported here by Fox Sport, allegedly, so basically what's happening is that Rugby Australia is going to get a lot of money coming up with their Lions tour coming up in 2025 and the Rugby World Cup at 2027. They're also going to get government funding for the Rugby World Cup. So Rugby Australia is going to literally get barrels of money trucked into their front door, and they're kind of trying to make up Christmas wish list to see what they want to get with their money. And obviously some of the Rugby League players is one of the biggest talents, some of the best talents we have in terms of rugby, plays Rugby League instead of Rugby Union. So there's a bit of a look at some of the players that could potentially be lured over with the big money. So obviously I don't watch league. A lot of these players, I just know them by watching the news. So I actually don't know I actually don't know much about these players other than like hearing about them on the news. I actually only watch Rugby League news for some reason. I find the news from Rugby League is more entertaining than the actual game. So I watch the news, but I don't actually watch the game. So anyway, so there's a list of players that they're looking at. So from on top of the list, apparently this guy named Joseph Suaalii is on the top of their list. In fact, I don't actually know who this guy is. I know. I live in the eastern suburbs, and the Roosters is my team. I don't know who this guy is. I only know James Tedesco and the traitor Latrell Mitchell. But hey, I told you, I don't watch Rugby League. But anyway, Teddy is not apparently on the list. So Tom Trbojevic, I'm pretty sure he plays for Roosters as well. Anyway, who knows? Who cares? He's also on the list. But the big one that I kind of wanted to see a lot, Latrell Mitchell. He is so good, so talented, and like, man, if Latrell Mitchell comes over, that will make my day. Okay, that would make my day. But we know Rugby Australia is gonna spoil him and probably gonna send him out there too early, too soon, and he's gonna get destroyed in the media. They're just gonna spoil him, but I still want to see him play. He's so good. Also on the list, Cameron Murray. I don't even know who this guy is, and Matt Burton and Nelson Asofa Solomona also on the list. I don't know. This will be a really interesting move. I thought maybe they should just get Ponga, but I'm pretty sure Ponga signed with like recently. Not recently. He signed like a long-term deal with Newcastle because he was talking about going to the All Blacks. But I thought they would for sure try to get Ponga to come over. But anyway, it is what it is. We got to get what we can afford. But yeah, $10 million to spend on Rugby League players. That is quite a nice shopping trip. So obviously on the weekend, Rugby Championship round 3, more shifts in the Rugby World Rankings again. So New Zealand drops back down. This looks very similar to 2 weeks ago. Drops back down. Actually 3 weeks ago now. Drops back down below England. Australia makes a huge jump above Argentina. Always been above Argentina. Makes a huge jump to 7th. Argentina, huge jump. 1 jump to 6th. Up from 7th. Argentina goes up to 7th. Starting from 9. So Argentina jumped up quite a few spots after beating New Zealand at home, and quite a lot of points being earned over there. So yeah, big shifts around there. Springboks still sitting nice and comfortably at 3. And New Zealand getting close to that 6th position as the Wallabies approaching. So next up we've got the game that we want to talk about. The first game of the weekend, the Wallabies versus Springboks. Wallabies beat the Springboks 25 points to 17. This was one of those games where the Wallabies basically had the game won 60 minutes in, and it's just like whether or not Wallabies going to walk away with a bonus point or not. Wallabies did show a bit of an issue where they were not able to close out the game cleanly. So Springboks did score 2 tries in the last 10 minutes to catch up the score a little bit. And the Wallabies also struggled a lot in the first half. The Springboks was dominant for the majority of the game, but were not able to convert that dominance into points. 100 points kicking was pretty poor, and the team was not able to get over the crossover, the choke for 74 minutes. So yeah, and obviously coming out of this game, there's a lot of to be answered by the head coach. There's there's a lot of things that people are kind of like baffled with it as well. So in some of these articles that you can see the stats here, the Springboks is pretty dominant in just about every aspect of the game. Penalty lineouts, like the Wallabies lineouts were awful. Penalty count, the Wallabies conceded more penalties. The Springboks I think the Wallabies made more tackles here. Springboks made slightly more tackles. So a territory is pretty even, but it's much more run meter by the Springboks. And for some reason, the Springboks were not able to win the game. In fact, the Wallabies were able to win the game quite comfortably. In fact, if you look at the penalty, Wallabies had 2 yellow cards as well, and the Springboks had 1. So out of all those stats, doesn't even make sense why the Springboks could be losing by so much. And the coach kind of came out and basically said they basically, the execution isn't quite clean enough. They basically said that he basically stated the obvious, that the Wallabies were able to score every time they got into their half, and they were not able to execute when it comes to getting their opportunities inside the Wallabies half. So pretty blatant stuff. Sia Khaleesi, the captain, talked about how there was just too much handling errors, and that could be an issue for the Springboks to work on. So that's the coach's verdict on what happened in the game. That's not what the fans said. So, obviously the coach, there was a lot of talk about the referee that is bribed by Australia. We have paid good money, as you can see. The Rugby Australia has been given a lot of money to buy stuff, so including the referee. So we did buy the referee on the weekend, but Jacques Nienaber has refrained from talking about that because he knows his boss already got banned. So he knows that he needs to hold the fort. If he gets himself banned as well, they're not gonna have a coach anymore, the Springboks. So yeah, they're gonna have to he's gonna have to hold down the fort and keep his mouth shut about the cheating referee. But just because he's got plenty of other people that will point out the referee. So obviously the South African journalist, one of the guy James Richardson, and the South African basically said that probably the hardest, just went full out on the referee Paul Williams. Man, like nowadays it seems like the most popular clickbait in South Africa is something to do with the referee. Rassie Erasmus started the trend hashtag, hashtag 62-minute Nick Barry referee video, and now everybody's doing it. Everybody in the media is trying to get the rub from Rassie Erasmus for that referee bash. So obviously, there's a lot of things that he talked about, saying that he's diabolical, incompetent. But most of all, the most importantly from his article is that he thinks that Paul Williams had brought the game into disrepute, and that he should never be referee again for the rest of his days, banished to the bush leagues for the rest of his days. I'm pretty sure he's from New Zealand. I don't think they even have a bush league. Bush leagues, I'm pretty sure it's like Australia. Anyway, I think he got the country a bit mixed up there, but yeah, banished the bush leagues. Really, really good there. Also, there was a lot of talk about one of the incidents where Marika Combetty made a try-saving tackle, as you can see in the photo here, on Mapimpi, where he basically knocked Mapimpi off his feet. And a lot of people thought that this was a shoulder charge as well. In fact, I thought this was a shoulder charge myself. But obviously, we paid some good money to the referee. The referee did not think that was the case, which led to a lot of discussions online. The referee said Combetty had one arm wrapped, but I'm pretty sure the rule says it was 2 arms wrapped to make that legal. But anyway, the TMOs and the referee on the field said that was okay. Sponsored by the Rugby Australia, obviously, and then the media. There was a lot of discussions as well. So the media actually talked about two sides to the story as well. So one side, obviously, some people thought this was a shoulder charge, a dangerous tackle that knocked Mapimpi off his feet. There's another field of thought that this article kind of talked about, is that Mapimpi jumped to try to avoid the tackle. So basically, the interpretation, as explained by Nigel Owens last year, when Johnny May tried to jump over to score a try, jumped out and reached in for a try in the Six Nations in 2021. Basically, Nigel Owens says that it's okay if you're diving for the try, but if you're jumping in the air to avoid a tackle, that is actually illegal. So whether or not Mapimpi jumped to avoid the tackle, or if he jumped to go for the try line, or if he was knocked up in the air because Corambetti shoulder charged him in a dangerous tackle, that's all up to the interpretation. So if Corambetti made a dangerous tackle that knocked him off his feet, that's a yellow card. If Mapimpi was trying to jump to score a try, then that's perfectly okay. Nobody is at fault. But if Mapimpi was trying to jump to avoid a tackle, then it's actually a penalty against Mapimpi. So yeah, there's a lot of discussion about that. Obviously, the Twitter sphere loves that sort of stuff, and you can let me know your thoughts down below. So obviously, the fans are not happy about the Springbok performance. A lot of people actually pointed out that the Springboks currently under the coach Nienaber is sitting at 58%, and when the big daddy Rassie Rasmus is not present on the field, the win rate is actually 36% for Nienaber. Yeah, that is very, very abysmal. And obviously there was a lot of talk about why Malcolm Marx wasn't selected to start. And probably the biggest thing that a lot of people are not happy with is the aging players. Vermeulen and Francois Steyn, both, in their mid-30s. A lot of people felt like they're out of their prime. Especially with the Vermeulen, right? Dwayne the Rock Vermeulen, whilst he's a big name, there is a lot of really good talent that the Springboks have for the number 8 position, and that is, Vermeulen is essentially taking a spot, an opportunity for these players to grow and develop. So a lot of fans are not happy, especially Evan Rules, probably one of the fan favorites. He was voted player of the year by the fans. So in the URC, so yeah, a big fan favorite, and he's not even getting an opportunity at all for the Springboks because of Vermeulen. So a lot of people thought that, really felt disgruntled by that as well. And obviously Francois Steyn, there was an interview that came out earlier this week where Steyn, he literally talked about how his knees hurt when he kicks, those long range kicks, and age is catching up to him essentially. And yeah, it is what it is. So there's not much to hide about that fact. So yeah, so aging players, it's not a gripe that players are having an issue with for the Springboks. And obviously the other incident on the weekend, the meme has come alive. The mustache is now world famous. And in case you live under a rock, Faf taps Nick on the face in a let's see if we can play this. I just mute the sound. I don't want to play it. I don't want to go to Twitter. Basically Faf taps Nick on the face in the rock, and Nick takes a dive. Right, you can see it here. Nick takes a dive, like, oh my god, I'm gonna go down, and milks a penalty and a yellow card. So a lot of people are not happy. There's obviously memes everywhere online. So basically, Nick returned to Sydney earlier this week, and there were some South Africans at the airport laughing at him, saying that they thought he was in hospital. They like clapping that he made it out of the hospital alive. One guy was yelling that he's going to Manchester United. And he gets a tap on the face and he goes down. Look at this, memes are for real. Hope for a quick recovery, Princess. In loving memory of Nick White's dignity. Manchester United jersey. I mean, that's a promotion, right? You get a lot more money at Manchester United, Nick. You should be proud of that, mate. Proud of that. Yeah, a bit of makeup. And he's also, moving to play soccer. So, obviously, the incident, everybody is a bit angry. South African broadcaster basically came out extremely angry, said Nick should be apologized. Apparently there was an incident a while ago where Brian Habana had to make an apology after like taking a knee, taking a tackle from Owen Farrell's and going down on his knee. Basically he had to come out and apologize for that, and the TV presenter from South Africa basically says that Nick should be doing the same. Good luck with that, mate. Good luck getting Nick White to apologize. Yeah, in your dreams, mate, in your dreams. Nick White is my hero and Australian of the Year, and he's done his country proud. Okay, we are proud of him. Okay, Nick, don't listen to these fools. You are okay. You are okay. So obviously the Springboks has to give something for me to talk about before the game early in the week to keep the news cycle spinning. They have already announced the team that's going to play the Wallabies this weekend. And obviously there's a lot of injuries out of the Springboks team, resulting in a lot of changes in the team. So this, this is actually not a joke, okay? Why is this, can I just have to, okay. This is not a joke, okay? Apparently, Handré Pollard, Lukamio Arm, Peter Sef-Dutoit have all suffered knee injuries. They've all suffered knee injuries. So all of these guys are out due to knee injuries. Elton Yanchis has a hand problem. So yeah, as a result, a brand new team was announced for the Springboks side. So starting a loose prop, Stephen Kitsoff comes off the bench. A lot of people wanted to see him start for the Springboks for a very, very long time. He is like a proud member of the bomb squad and an important member of the bomb squad, so he gets to start finally in the number 1 jersey. Malcolm Marx, he has been the talking point in the Springbok in the South African media for the last 2-3 weeks now. Ever since Bungi Bunabi got injured, everybody wanted him to be the number 2 starting, and also over Joseph Dweba. But yeah, he's done his Dweba. He's done quite good for himself, coming off the bench again and again for the Springboks. So many people felt that he earned that number 2 jersey. So he gets to start number 2 alongside his old mate Francois Malherbe, the big prop, the big man. Number 3, Eben Elizabeth gets number 4 jersey once again. Lut Yacha gets number 5 jersey. Sia Khaleesi, the captain, gets number 6 jersey. Franco Mostert moves into Peter Steps jersey at number 7. Franco Mostert is basically a third lock for the Springboks. He plays a different style to Peter Steps du Toit a little bit. He's a little bit less. Yeah, he plays more like a lock than a loose forward. In fact, Peter Steps du Toit don't really play like a loose forward either, like an open side flanker either. He kind of just hangs around the rocks a lot. Yeah, actually quite similar to be honest. Anyway, so Franco Mostert is technically, I think he's more of a lock. The 7 jersey, Jasper Visa, a lot of people wanted him to see at number 8 over Vermeulen. Their wish has came true. Jason Hendricks comes in number 9 over Faf de Klerk. Faf de Klerk, in fact, is out. And number 10, the greatest player in the history of the Springboks. Yeah, Damien Valemsa gets number 10 jersey, starting number 10. he did play fly half in that first test against Wales when what's his name? Yanchis had a shocking first half. He had to be ad hoc into number 10 jersey for that test match where they actually won against Wales. So he's actually really good, and his goal kicking is really good as well. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm as excited as you are to see Damian Willemse at 10. He's gonna be good. He's extremely talented, and yeah, could potentially be a permanent 10 option too. Which is saying the fact that his goal kicking is really, really on point. It's really just a huge tick that the Springboks is looking for already for that 10 jersey. Not to mention that he's really good kicking game, and he has good ball handling from his time playing in center position for the Stormers. So yeah, he's it's quite a package. At number 11, Makazulu Mapimpi once again. Damian Dialendi gets number 12 jersey. Jesse Krill returns to the fold at outside center position, somewhere he's more suited to play. He has been playing the number 14 jersey quite a bit for the Springboks since last year when Afalete Fasi was denied a visa to go to Europe for the European trip. So Jesse Krill was kind of like playing wing since November. Maybe he played wing before, but he basically was, yeah, he hasn't played center essentially for quite a while now for the Springboks. So he finally returns to center for number 13. And the new man, the 19-year-old Kanan Moody, gets the number 14 jersey. He'll be tasked with the high ball, catching the high balls again and again. And Willie LaRue gets caught in a number 15 jersey for the Springboks. On the bench, once again, the Springboks is not opting for the bomb squad for some reason. I don't know either. So the Springboks has opted for Dion Fury, who does play loose forward for the Stormers, but he is going to be reserve hooker. Yeah, I did not know that. This is something that was really weird. I thought for sure I've seen him throw a line out, and then I saw him play play flanker at the Stormers, and then he was announced as a flanker for the Springboks. So I thought I just like mistaken him for somebody else throwing a line out. But I was pretty sure I saw him throw a line out somewhere before. But anyway, so it turns out I wasn't crazy and I did not confuse him. He has played hookup before. So according to the coach reports as well, they haven't been preparing him as a loose forward at all in the Springbok camp. In fact, they have been training him and preparing him as a hooker ever since joining the Springbok team. That's actually not true. He did come off the field and debuted as a lock, didn't he? As a not a lock, as a flanker. So that's actually not true, but they've been preparing him for the hooker position for quite a while now. But anyway, according to the reports, so he will be okay. Ox Inche gets number 17 jersey in the loose head prop position, and Trevor Nyakani comes in at number 18 jersey, again returns to the fold in the tight head position this time, not the loose head. Very excited to see the big man returning. And then Huaga Smith gets number 19 jersey. Dwayne the Rock Vermeulen gets number 20 jersey. Cobus Reinach, I thought he was dropped, but apparently he's promoted to the official team. No, he wasn't dropped. Apparently he was like an assistant. It wasn't even officially announced as a member of the squad. It was just like assistant or something in the squad. But anyway, he gets the number 21 jersey. Francois Stang gets number 22. And Warwick Gelant comes in at number 23 for the Springboks. And that is the lineup for the weekend. Oh boy, 23 minutes already. So anyway, let's go through some of the less important things. So the Springbok schedule for the spring tour. Another like an unofficial, game has been lined up for the Springboks to play Munster on the Thursday. This is also alongside the other unofficial match against Bristol Bears for the Springboks. In between their test matches with Ireland, France, and England, in Italy in November. So yeah, 2 more club tests for the Springboks. And also there was some talks about putting a scrum clock trying out that in Super Rugby, so a lot of players are not really happy. They felt like this could be a safety issue. I do think that, and what baffles me is that the scrum clock is going to be 60 seconds, so a minute. They are taking like 60 minutes is how long it takes. 60 seconds is how long they take to pack the scrum anyway. So like, what's the point of the scrum clock when the time you're giving them is like more than what it takes currently to pack a scrum, which is kind of stupid to me. Anyway, the second test of the week, the All Blacks versus Argentina. Oh boy, the dumpster fire is roaring back with the vengeance last weekend. Orange Theory Stadium, home of the Crusaders. The New Zealand went down to Argentina at 18 points to 25. Argentina came out with a pretty solid strategy. Defense, turnover. And then the All Blacks was really looked... it didn't look like the All Blacks on the weekend, to be really frank. And so there was, obviously, going into the game, first up, there was a long-awaited debut for Stephen Perofeta. I was really excited to see him play, but obviously the game wasn't going well, so he only got like 5 minutes before the end of the match. I don't think he even touched the ball, to be honest. So it was really disappointing for me. I really want to see him play a proper test match instead of getting a 5-minute debut. And but yeah, obviously it was understandable because the game was going horrendously for the All Blacks, and obviously the coach don't want to throw him out there to exacerbate the problem, sort of thing. And then next up, obviously, they go into the match as well. There was some really interesting stuff going into this match. So Fozzie did talk about some of the things that he was going to be expecting from Argentina. So he did talk about how Argentina has brought in new defensive coach in David Kitwell, who taught the rush defense from NRL, and also he's talked about how Argentina has been improving against Australia, how they're playing with more ambition, yada yada yada, and also a lot of focus on the breakdown. So he talks about some of this stuff that before the match, but during the match, these were exactly the issues that was plaguing the All Blacks. The Argentinians found themselves again and again turning over the ball at the breakdown, and the All Blacks didn't have any answer to that. So I was a little bit surprised, and also the rush defense as well was just, the All Blacks was literally going backwards due to the rush defense. The Argentina didn't even need the ball to advance towards the New Zealand try line. And it was, and also there was, obviously, going into the match as well, there's a lot of these things that I've talked about going into the match. It's almost like a bad omen as well. They literally talked about how they brought in Joe Schmidt as their new attacking coach, and the All Blacks attack on the weekend was very, very poor. One-off crash ball all night. They were almost too afraid to spread the ball out wide. Will Jordan didn't get the ball, hardly touched the ball, and basically because the All Blacks was too afraid to spread the ball out wide. And yeah, one-off crash balls. I don't know if that's Joe's idea, but it was definitely if this is what Joe brought to the table, that was a little bit need to think of that attacking strategy again. And obviously, the signs were not going well for the All Blacks going into the test match, like I just talked about. This was played at Orange Theory Stadium at Christchurch. The stadium could only hold 20,000 fans, so they actually added 3,000 temporary seats, and it was not sold out at all. So in an All Blacks test match at home, and this was, there was a lot of media talk as well going into this match. This was 6 years since the game has played in Christchurch. Obviously, they had an earthquake, and the stadium was destroyed. The old stadium was destroyed, and it's been repaired. So it's been a while since the All Blacks actually played in Christchurch. And obviously Christchurch is a bit of a contentious region as well. A lot of the current New Zealand public felt like the Crusaders head coach, Razor Robinson, I can't remember his first name. Is it Mark Robinson or... Anyway, Razor was supposed to be... Scott Robinson. Mark Robinson is the New Zealand Rugby, head of New Zealand Rugby. But anyway, Scott Robinson, everyone thought he should get the job. Maybe that has something to do with it. The fact that they decided to keep Ian Foster. Ian Foster did say that he was greeted, it was a pretty warm welcome in Christchurch. Obviously, people were pretty nice to him. But nevertheless, they were not able to sell out the stadium despite adding more seats. Totally overestimated the fan support there before the match. Obviously, after the match, there's more talk about Fozzie potentially getting fired. I do feel like this is a perpetuating... this is just a perpetuating... I've talked about this in my post-match review. This is just like perpetuating cancer now going on in New Zealand. You know, here's the thing, right? The All Blacks has a process, has a way of... there's a lot of culture that goes into the selection process when it comes to players, when it comes to coaches. You can't just hand over the coaching to somebody random. Full stop. Because there's so many things that the players, the coaches needs to kind of like adjust to make sure that the culture is being developed to the young players. You don't want just some new guy to come in to try to completely throw out the New Zealand culture. Just to give you an idea, so a lot of you guys probably don't understand, it's pretty hard to comprehend like how important the culture is for the All Blacks. So just to give you an idea, right? I've read a book about like how the All Blacks were succeeding in the prime years. One of the things that they talk about is the jersey. The All Blacks jersey is basically a embodiment of. It's basically it's not just the jersey. It's basically like the way they describe it is like when you put on the jersey, you're no longer yourself. You are a great All Black. You are an All Black, and you basically have to put your own personal being, whoever you are, out of the window, and you need to embody the jersey. It's the people that came before the jersey, and the history, the whole concept of being an All Black. You have to embody that. You have to put yourself out of the way, and you have to immerse yourself of becoming a new person almost as an All Black player. That's what the jersey stands for, and also it is expected of the player to leave the jersey in a better place when you put it down, so the next person can wear the jersey and carry on the legacy that you left behind. So the jersey is an embodiment of everybody that wore the jersey before, and you are just, carrying on the legacy of the previous person that wore the same number as you. So that's the culture. That's what they teach. That's the thing that everybody embraced, because I don't know if they still do it anymore, during that period between 2011 and 2015, where the All Blacks was on their prime. That's what like Richie McCaw talks about. That's what everybody, that's the culture. And that's something that you can't just teach. And that's something that if you bring a new coach, that legacy, it's going to get muddled up. So there's a lot of stuff like that behind the scenes for the All Blacks that is really, really, really important. You can't just throw the coach out. What they can do, and I think is what they're trying to do, is get someone else to slowly transition Fozzie out. So with Joe Smith coming in, they're probably looking at slowly still having Ian Foster as the head coach because he has that rapport with the players, but maybe having Joe Schmidt to start taking over more of the team strategic management of the team. I think that's probably the All Blacks are trying to do here. So yeah, the perpetuating toxicity from the media doesn't help anyone. I've talked about my review. I felt like the All Blacks players had the confidence beat out of them by the media. Cody Taylor has worse stats when he's playing at home. He's probably the only player who plays poorly at home in the world, and I think that is because of the pressure from the media, from the fans, and yeah, I felt like that's the main issue. So the perpetuation of all this BS from the media, like, oh, you're destroying the 120 years of legacy. You know what's destroying the under 20 is a legacy? Firing your coach and replacing with just, you know, that you're actually destroying the legacy. A more important part of the All Black legacy as well. So the winning and losing, it's something, in my opinion, happens to everyone. You can't, you know, it's about how it's about how you manage the loss. And for me, I think you can't really do much about the media. You just got to ignore it and move on. And the sooner the All Blacks can just carry on and ignore the media, the quicker they're gonna rebound back to being good again. So yeah. Anyway, next up we've got so what's going on here? Oh yeah, so obviously the coach also came out. Like, this is something that this is obviously something that the media has been talking about. The running game, the attacking rugby. So Foster basically came out and said that the All Blacks DNA of the attack rugby is it's no longer viable in the current state of the rugby world, and he's basically saying that they have to resort to a more conservative style of the game, hinting the kicking game like the Springboks do. You know, yeah, let me know your thoughts. I honestly, you know, you have so much talent. Yeah, anyway, I don't even know. I have to think about what this actually means. But basically, he's hinting that they're going to move away from trying to run the ball out of their own 22 and start doing more of the kicking game territory, playing the territory. That is more of a trend nowadays in international rugby. We shall see how that goes. But yeah. Anyway, next up, you know, despite the fact that Ireland and France both plays a pretty attacking style of rugby, Fozzie says that it's not really good enough anymore. So he sees a different strategy for the All Blacks. Obviously, this was a first win for the Argentina and also first win for Michael Cheika. He has never won. Yes. Wallabies has never won in New Zealand under Michael Cheika. They came really close a couple times. Maybe once, in fact. And yeah, so this was the first time Michael Cheika has won in New Zealand as well. So really big moment for him. He praised his defensive coach, Dave Kitwell, and he is one happy man. Oh yeah, and he also basically talked about Pablo Matera and how he developed really well through the Crusaders, basically putting a bit of a stab to Foster for holding onto the job over Razor essentially. And obviously Fozzie had to come up with an excuse for losing the game, and he basically made a bit of stab to Cheika, saying that the Pumas was illegally slowing the Rocks down. As we saw on the weekend, the Pumas were holding out the players, trying to create a maul until the referee says you gotta let them go, until the player's knee touches the ground. You gotta let them go, in a sense that slows down the ball, slows down the rock. Fozzie essentially says that the referee missed it. They should have called the rock sooner. And and Cheika basically came out and replied, "It's what New Zealand do all the time. You should know this is how the game works because you do it all the time." Basically, the response of Michael Cheika. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. And then next up, we've got obviously the New Zealand media is not happy. We don't really want to talk about this. There's some talk about John Kerwin benching Sam Cane to give Dalton Papali'i a go. I mean, I don't know what to say to that. So anyway, some positives for the All Blacks this weekend. Beauden Barrett should be good to go for the weekend, so expect for him to be selected. So he had a neck injury in training, which ruled him out last weekend, and so he will be good to go this weekend against the Argentina. And then next up, another huge return, Brodie Retalick. He had a broken cheek against Ireland, so he's good to go again. He's returned. He has been training with the All Blacks since the start of the Rugby Championship, so he's had a few weeks now working with the team. So he will be good to go, slotting right into the team, slotting right back into the fold. He also played some time with Hawke's Bay as well with the regional sides. But yeah, he will be a huge addition to the All Blacks team, especially if Retalick returns to lock. Are they going to put Scott Barrett at number 6 again? Sellout has done so well for the All Blacks. He did get that yellow card, yeah. He's probably going to, yeah, here's the thing. Shannon Frizzell had a yellow card on the weekend. He's probably going to get dropped for Scott Barrett. So I will be expecting Scott Barrett to be a 6th jersey this weekend, with Brodie Retalick returning to the lock position. Finally, we got a couple more to go. So first up, the Tewera Kurt Barlow, a former All Black player, has announced that he is interested to play for the Wallabies. So obviously the changing of the rules for players to play for the country that they were born or their parents were born, as long as they haven't been playing for the national team for 4 years. So yeah, Kurt Barlow is one of the players. Same as Israel Folau, he's allowed to play for Tonga. So yeah, Kurt Barlow is someone who is qualified to play for Australia and has talked about potentially return. He's actually keen to play for the Wallabies. And in fact, the coach had talked about potentially wanting him to come in because they needed a halfback. And but yeah, I don't know. For me, I feel like they should just bring someone new. But Sir Fozzie had to come out with his opinion. He said he doesn't feel right at all. Obviously, Fozzie was involved in the coaching development of this player when he was playing for the All Blacks in that 2015 Rugby World Cup. Or maybe it wasn't earlier, I can't even remember. But anyway, so Fozzie was obviously part of the coaching staff who saw the development of Kurt Barlow. But yeah, the end of the day, he's allowed to play, and yeah. Finally, the last bit of news for today. So apparently the French organizers for the Rugby World Cup, so this was reported like in June, essentially. Apparently the people at the the people that was the organizers in France trying to set up for the Rugby World Cup. Apparently they're like overworking the employees and getting they were just like brutalizing all the employees to try to get things done in preparation for Rugby World Cup, and they got like there's some whistleblower came out and basically reported one of the guy, what's his name, Claude Archer, to basically like the French sports ministry, and last week the French sports ministry came out and banned him from continuing or suspend him from continuing working for the preparation for Rugby World Cup. Basically, they talk about they call it the management by terror. So yeah, essentially they're just like crunch time every day for everybody who was involved, and nobody was having a good time. And really interesting. And so that's just a bit of interesting news from France. Anyway, let me know your thoughts about today's news, guys. 43 minutes, a lot longer than what I wanted to talk about. Maybe I should cut this down a bit for the next week one. But yeah, let me know your thoughts, guys. Like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you guys later this week for the previews. Cheers.